let's get on with our topics because there's tons of them. Right off the bat, it was a couple weeks ago, we were talking about the controversy, as was everybody, with the movie Don't Worry, Darling. So, Kelly, I wanted to ask you, in comparison to the controversy and the buzz, you actually went to go watch the film. What did it leave you saying and thinking?
I did watch it, and at the end of it, I kind of was like, what the was that? But in a very good way, if you can understand that. It was so interesting and so beautifully done, and it just looked great. I really hope that the silliness of all the social media stuff doesn't deter anyone from going to see it, because I think Olivia Wilde did such a great job. It's such a woman powered movie, which is interesting because the story is kind of about putting women in their place and having them support the man, like, because it sets back into the 50s, so it's that mindset. But you see the women having fun and being strong, and not just, you see it's just kind of a different side to the homemaker stuff. But there's a lots of twists and turns, and I thought Florence was amazing, like everyone says. Like, she's such a powerful actress, and I mean, I've seen her in other stuff and she's always been fantastic, but it really was great. And Chris Pine, he doesn't have like a lot of scenes, but he steals them when he's in it, and he definitely has this creepy vibe, but it's also like super hot. So
I mean, I could see it.
he just really has such an amazing screen presence. And I mean, I've heard Harry Styles has kind of been getting some lackluster reviews, but also his character was sort of Stepfordy, so it really didn't, at least in my opinion, I don't feel like he was pushing for that much range, because the character really wasn't. The character in itself was a little bit dull. I mean, not really dull, but it just like Stepford-ish.
Well, it was limited. It was limited to a degree.
Limited, yeah. So I mean, I think he did. I mean, I thought it was fine. I mean, I wouldn't say, oh, whatever, but I feel like it was in line with what the character was supposed to be.
The actual people and the powers that be that make the decisions, which are much different than Twitter, craziness. Do you think they're going to be 100% behind Olivia Wilde as a director? Because that's like what you said, you don't want it to be where the shenanigans overshadow the film. Do you think that this was good enough where she's in line for something in the future?
I mean, I do. I really do. I think she is a very talented filmmaker. I mean, obviously this is only, she's very green with it still, but I mean, I thought it's like a great movie. And again, I'm a huge movie buff. I really look at everything from the cinematography to the editing to how everything kind of flows together. And it really was a sight to see. I mean, there were little parts of it that kind of were a little slow for me, but it was intentional because it's more of a psychological thriller and a little bit more like sci-fi-ish, and I'm not a huge fan of that, but I did appreciate the story overall. And I was, kind of like, wow, by the end of it, because there are a couple of things that happen that you don't really expect to happen. But I like that it was like the female empowerment in the movie like really shined through, considering it was like so many men trying to kind of push you down to have your place in their perfect society. Like, your job is to support the man. Your job is to do this, which is what they were doing. But they were also partying, having a great time, and, showing that they had, thoughts and, opinions of their own. So.
Well, I can't wait to see it, though. It was just the clip where she gets on the phone and some woman is kind of giving her the information that she doesn't know what's actually going on. It seems riveting. So you saw the whole thing. So I'm really ready to put those pieces together. Just for sake of like, it comes up a lot. Like, did Harry Styles like rise to the occasion of being a good actor, or was he just kind of a star-studded thing where it just gave the film a lot of attention? What do you think of him?
I thought that he did well enough. I mean, I wouldn't compare him to a Chris Pine and all the stuff that Chris has been in, because it's just different. But Harry is a showman. He can put on a show. Like,
yeah,
he can.
And you have to sell movie tickets too. So it's that whole thing.
but I thought that the chemistry between the two was it was awesome. It was very powerful. The intimacy that they showed and just their passion for one another really came through. So I mean, he can evoke emotion, and I think that's really important. I don't think it's like, like when I see Justin Timberlake in a movie, like I'm not a huge, like I've just never been a huge fan of his. I've never really seen anything of
Many
his where
people
I'm
have
just
said,
like, where
many
I'm
people
like,
have agreed with that. Yeah.
like Queen Latifah, she goes in a movie and she is an actress.
Oh,
She wants to
yes.
make music. She's an artist, but you see that different. Justin Timberlake, I've never really thought that, but that's just my own personal opinion. Harry, I'm still kind of on the fence about it, but I do want to see The Policeman and kind of see how that goes. I haven't seen any other movie that he's been in, so this is the first one for me. But I do want to explore more of his work and see. But he did evoke emotion. I feel like I think he was a character in this movie, and I did feel the passion between their two characters and their marriage, and the love that they had for each other in certain scenes was really intense. So, and it was more than just the sex, because the sex scenes were hot, but it was for me taking it in, and I believe the way that Olivia meant to push it out was, it was more like the connection between these two people and just kind of like the physical power between the two of them, and why this situation is so intense and how it all unfolds in the end. And that's the way it came across to me anyway. So
All right. That's great. Any last words on it?
go see it.
All right. Moving on to something less exciting, I guess, but still we wanted to get your viewpoint.